over the skies in Scotland. They say that even if that does happen, they definitely won't be flying. They say logistically it's just not possible for them to operate. They can't get the crews into the right place, or even the planes for that matter, so they say it's just not viable to operate a service. Of course, it was all very different yesterday when Scotland thought it was over the worst of the dust cloud. And Glasgow Airport actually saw a lot of flights from the US being diverted here, so Glasgow was actually doing rather well out of this dust cloud. That, of course, is over now, and BA in Glasgow say they now face losing millions of pounds.
Julie Peacock there at Glasgow Airport, thank you very much. And before her, we heard from Alex Bushell at Heathrow. Well, let's get the latest on the actual volcanic eruption. Our correspondent Lorna Gordon, who's in Iceland, has been where the volcano is still erupting, and she sent us this report from the capital.
Well, this volcanic eruption, which has caused so much chaos in the airspace over Europe, has had remarkably little effect on the island of Iceland. We flew in across the south of the island, in the waters just to the south of where this volcanic eruption has taken place, and you could see this vast plume of steam and ash rising 25,000 feet into the air. It was quite spectacular, but when you land in Iceland, day-to-day life is pretty much carrying on as normal. It is erupting in a very remote part of the island. People who live there have been affected. About 800 people have had to evacuate their homes because of worries over flash flooding. They have, the vast majority of them, been allowed to return, but they have been told they may have to again leave their houses at very short notice. There's also a problem with this ash clogging the filters on engines of cars. But in Reykjavik, the capital, life continues as normal, ironically, because the prevailing winds, which are very strong, are blowing most of the ash towards Europe.
No-fly restrictions over the UK are extended again to at least 7 tomorrow morning. Iceland's volcanic eruption continues as scientists warn it could go on for months. The Liberal Democrat campaign rolls on. Now Labour and the Conservatives refocus their tactics. And Paul Scholes scores a last-minute winner for United in the Manchester derby. Good afternoon. The restrictions on flights in and out of the UK will remain in place until at least 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, adding to the misery of hundreds of thousands of stranded airline passengers. The volcanic ash cloud coming from Iceland is continuing to drift across Britain, and scientists are warning that the eruption could continue for months. John Brain has the details.
Iceland's volcano refuses to settle, still belching out ash and grit into the atmosphere, still bringing paralysis to Europe's flight network. The only aircraft on the move at Heathrow today was being towed across the tarmac. Nothing has taken off here, nothing has landed. It's been a similar picture across most of Europe.
Where do they go from Patras to?
Members of this school choir from South London have found themselves stranded in Athens.
We're considering the possibility of going by coach, really, because it's going to be so long before BA can rebook us. It's Friday, in fact, they're offering at the moment.
Mark Kennedy is also taking to the road for his trip from Manchester to Munich.
It doesn't look as though there'll be any flights for the next few days, so I've decided to get in my car and travel down to Munich, not taking any chances.
How long is it going to take you?
About 17 hours.
Of course, these scenes of grounded planes at inactive airports don't just spell frustration for passengers. The longer this goes on, the bigger the impact on the airline industry's finances and the wider economy. It's been estimated that British and Irish airlines are already losing around £28 million every day flights are suspended. Include